Oh man, Indiana Jones. Apparently something's wrong with PlayStation and Indiana Jones. All right, here it goes. All right, so Indiana Jones and the Great Circle rushes PS5 players with controversial memory demands for the console. This doesn't sound good. Sounds like the game has too much and the console has too little. That's what it seems like. So let's go ahead and let's get into this whole thing. So Sony PlayStation 5 release of Machine Games Indiana Jones and the Great Circle has entertained gamers on many platforms, including our own author Frank here at that Park Place. Okay, so far so good. However, the physical edition storage requirements have sparked a minor controversy, particularly regarding its Blu-ray media and its limited data capacity. First of all, like PlayStation, your guys' games are Blu-ray, or is that? I'm not a PlayStation person, so I don't know entirely. So, but are the games Blu-ray themselves, or is it a Blu-ray system in the? I don't know. Let me know about that. Okay? The problem that happens far too frequently than it's covered. Ooh. Okay, so let's see. Going further, the PS5 version requires approximately 125 gigs of SSD storage. Damn. But the single Blu-ray disc contains only 20 gigabytes of data, necessitating a 105 gig download to play the game. Damn. This detail, reported by Push Square, contrasts with titles like Horizon. Oh my goodness, I almost said Forza Horizon. Holy crap, almost said it. Sorry. Horizon Forbidden West, which use dual disc sets to leverage the PS5's 100 gigabyte Blu-ray capacity. Final Fantasy 7 back in the day did it. There's so many games that had that. Basically the Final Fantasy series, all of them had multiple discs because they all couldn't sit on one disc itself, which helped out a lot and inspired other games to do it. Even going to the Xbox 360 days too, Battlefield 3, they had two discs. One is for single player and the other one's for multiplayer and co-op. And the thing is, you didn't have to download it. You just pop the disc in and boom, that's it. So again, 125 gigs, and I feel like I know what it is. It's all these shaders and the resolutions and all that stuff. That's all what it is. These texture packs that are like super high definition that makes this much size of a storage. Like, it is ridiculous. Like, if you play on PC, I think it's like somebody did an example. I think it was Moist Critical. He downloaded Black Ops 6 to play, and he's like, why is this such a huge file? But then he did, since he was on Steam, he went into that file itself and saw the individual things that it was downloading, and it's texture packs, high definition packs, like audio and stuff like that. He unchecked it. It went from like 100 some odd gigs to like 30. That's insane. That most of it is not even the game itself. It's just texture packs. And usually when you're playing on PC, you turn the shit down anyways, unless it's a single player game. So, all right, sorry, I'm diverting a bit, but I had to say that. All right, so while the game itself is huge, making the single disc approach is a bit of a puzzle. At about 125 gigs, there is no way it could fit on a single disc. And for those with limited download speeds, dual disc could reduce the download demands. I know gamers' frustrations when they have limited time to play and are hit with patches, let alone entire game downloads. Yeah, I get it all the time. It's like when you get off work and like you're just so excited, like you want to play a game, or you just want to go and play your favorite game or whatever, and then boom, you're hit with a download. And the download back then on a 360, downloads were not that bad. They were, when you did the download speed, even with the shittiest internet possible, it took you about 3 minutes, at most 3 minutes. But nowadays it's like you'll have, hey, your game needs to update, and it will take you like approximately 10 minutes, 30 minutes, depending on what game it is. Call of Duty is, they got to update Call of Duty HQ, and then they got to update the game and everything like that. Then you go into the game, and then it kicks you out because it says, hey, this game needs to restart. Like, it requires a restart. So you restart the game and then you pop back in. It's just so much. Like, just get me into the game. Just get me into the game. I remember back then, sorry, I'm just going off on a tangent on this one, but I just remember back then when they were talking about, oh, these next gen consoles, you're gonna pop the disc in and not even having loading times or anything like that. The game should just pop up like that. Like, once you put the disc in, you're already in a game playing it. But no, we don't have that. We're either still at a standstill or we're regressing. I've just had to say it. Just being honest. All right, so going further, it says no official statement from Microsoft or Bethesda explains the decision, leaving room for speculation and many complaints, I would imagine. Producing a single disc is generally less costly than a dual disc, which is true, which may factor into the choice, according to industry analysts cited by Eurogamer. I'm not sure that extra dollar would make much difference in the grand scheme. Conversely, large downloads are standard in modern AAA games, with titles like Call of Duty Black Ops 6 requiring over 100 gigs. Yeah, but then if you remove the stuff, it lowers it, which I think is funny. A fact that usually leads to conversations about optimizations and bulky game engines. This trend reflects the growing size of high fidelity games with scalable fields of view and rendered distances, a point noted in Digital Trends' coverage of storage challenges in modern gaming. That is insane. So here's my take on this section right here. It's going to cost more money to have a dual disc, right? Which is kind of weird because right now we're in a weird area with, especially with the industry, because of like Nintendo, where they just put out their price point for like their Switch 2 games being like $80-$90 depending on the title of the game itself. I feel like the rest are going to follow suit, and if they do a dual disc, it seems like it's going to be more, especially for physical copy holders, these dual discs, right? Digital, it may be a cheaper route, which people are just going to pay like a cheap price for it. But then if you pay a physical copy, if you pay for a physical copy that has a dual disc, they may charge you a little extra, like a little more, or even double the price of that, just because of how much they had to put into making the dual disc, or depending on the game and how big it is, the size of the disc itself. Give me like an example would be Dynasty Warriors Origins. You guys remember I played that game? I did a whole playthrough and everything. It took me 50 hours, a total of 50 hours of gameplay, and I'm not even done. I only did one campaign. There's still two. I have to branch off and do, which I will do eventually. But where I'm going with this is that if they were to make a multi-disc for that, it would probably be a 3-disc, or most likely, in my head, I think it would be a 4-disc, going from basically the very beginning to the part where you choose what campaign you want to go with. Then it would be like, okay, there's those 3 discs. You have a campaign for Liu Bei, Liu Bu, and then like the Sun Clan. Like having those, like choosing those armies, they'd be like different colored discs. So I'd see it like as 4 discs, but that's just me thinking about that, right? I just think like doing multi-discs would be a lot better, but it all depends on the type of game itself. If it's a multiplayer game that has a campaign, split it up. Might as well do it, split it up. But if it is just a single player game, it all depends on the length of the game, if that makes sense. That's where I'm like leaning towards. If it like, just like Final Fantasy, like perfect example, Final Fantasy 7, that game was pretty large, and they had to break it up in 3 discs. It was in 3 parts. Final Fantasy 8 had 4. It was like after each part, like each crucial part, it was like, you know, you had to pop open the disc tray and it said insert disc 2 or disc 3 or disc 4 type of stuff, and then you close it and then it continued on, which I thought was actually pretty fun. Like that was a really fun thing to have. All right, so developers in turn argue that the game's technical demands justify its footprint. It features ray trace lighting and 60 frames per second performance on both base PS5 and PS5 Pro. In fact, the Pro delivers that all in 4K resolution. So that's another thing where it comes to consoles, where it's like this is forced upon you, like having this, because I don't think that you can just go into, again, I don't have a PS5 and I don't have a PS5 Pro. So I don't know if you can just go into these settings and turn off the, you know, ray tracing and stuff like that. I'm not entirely sure. I think it's hard stuck on there. Anybody that has a PS5 Pro and has games like these, let me know in the comments, because I like school me up on this. I only have an Xbox Series X and older Xbox consoles because that's just me. But let me know on that one, okay? So all right, so sales data for the PS5 version. Launched April 17th, 2025, isn't yet available as the industry trackers like Circana, I think is the name, I believe, typically release figures weeks post-launch. For context, Xbox and PC versions released December 2024 saw strong performance, ranking as the second best-selling game in the US during its launch week. By January 2025, Microsoft CEO Satya, I believe, Nadella reported over 4 million players across Xbox and PC per VGC or VG charts. I'm sorry, I almost said VGC hearts. All right, so players' reactions to the game vary. For thoughts, check Frank's review here, which is another article talking about the game. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle showcases the PS5's power, but the physical release size and download requirement may frustrate some. It also emphasizes the move away from owning physical copies of your games to more of a hostage model tied to surviving game studios of the future. As gaming storage needs expand, players and publishers are set for a conflict over what's reasonable. Yeah, I feel like that's what's going to happen. No matter what, there's always going to be backlash. There's always going to be arguments left and right about what works, what doesn't work. Me, I love having physical copy games. I enjoy it a lot. Something to cherish. They're tangible. You know, if something were to happen of my console, I can just easily pop the disc into a brand new console and download it. Totally fine. I don't have to worry about signing into my account on somebody else's console, whatever. Just download the game. I remember back then, I know I feel like an old head, but I remember back then, even with 360 and games before that, all you had to do is just bring the disc with you. You pop it in the console, you can just play the game right there and then. You don't have to log into an account. You don't have to make sure that, hey, this account did get this game, you know. Then after that, downloading the game, you know, and take that long. You don't have to deal with that. So I just feel bad for like people growing up around this time now. Like around like the time that we're in now. It sucks. Like they weren't able to experience older consoles and stuff. But yeah, it's just insane to see like a game like these games going to like 125 gigs and more than that. And the thing is, it's not gonna stop. That's the worst part. It's just not gonna stop at all. It's gonna take about I don't know. It's gonna be like we may get to like 200 gigs. We may get to freaking 300 gigs. It's going to get to the point where having a 2 terabyte or 1 terabyte or 2 terabyte, actually, no, we're already there. But it's like having a 4 terabyte would be nothing. And I use a 4 terabyte just to make YouTube videos. So that's like even the craziest thing. It's going to get to a point where it's just going to get really out of hand. And mainly what it is, and it sucks to say because I went to school for game art and everything. And I know how this works with textures in like high intense textures. It takes up so much storage, because it takes a lot to render itself as well. And it gets to the point where even I thought of it when I was going through the course. Sorry, I'm going on a sidetrack here, but it's like I made this crazy high textures, but then you have to think, how many people are just going to turn the thing off? Like when people are like, oh, you should do ray tracing, like put your stuff in ray tracing, it'll look so good. Okay, I can make the images good in ray tracing. Yeah, that's fine. But who is going to play the game in ray tracing? Unless you got a super high-end computer that can play it, then I guess so. Cool. But if you are playing a game and streaming on that same PC and you are trying to enable that ray tracing and get the 4K and everything like that, oh yeah, that's gonna cause some problems. Especially what I heard about, you know, watching J2 Cents and everything in their videos about 5080s and 5090s, mainly 5090s, burning cables because of like amps going through certain cables and stuff the wrong way. But that's a whole different thing. But anyway, that's all I got for this video. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about this. Should they just go back to doing like, you know, multiple discs, or should they get rid of it entirely, or what do you guys think about it? Me, I will always bat for physical copies. If I can get a physical copy, I would. When it comes to games that I get received from Ubisoft to test out, yes, I have tested out Ubisoft games and stuff. That's why I've been playing Skull and Bones and things like that. If I was given the option to get a physical copy, I would get a physical copy. It is what it is. I feel like the industry is still trying to push people more and more towards digital games and like trying to leave physical games in the back burner, but there's too many of us that still cling on to that. So yeah, that's all I got for this video. I appreciate you guys. Thank you guys so much. And it's Alpha Chain. I'll see you guys next time. All right. Peace.